Hello, I'm Dave from Dave's Jungle, coming to you from my reptile house. Right behind me is where Kevin, my crocodile, lives, and you can hear a lot of chirping around here, and the reason for that is because there are a lot of crickets. I have a big supply of crickets in because I have to feed all these fellas. So today I'm going to start off with frogs. Now this is a little African dwarf frog, also known as a pixie frog, and this is Darren. Now Darren is actually a female. It's a mistake I made when she was very young. I didn't look properly, and so the name just kind of stuck. How you tell the difference between a male and a female pixie frog, it's like this. First of all, the males are larger, which is really unusual in the frog world because generally the female frogs are much bigger. The males also have a more masculine head, so they look more male. She has softer features. She looks like a female. The males are more vocal, and they'll sound out to tell other frogs to keep away from their side of the pond. It's their territory. And they'll use their beautiful singing voice or chirping voice. Beautiful if you're a frog, probably. But that is how they attract the females. It gives the females an idea of how strong and how healthy they are. They have lungs, but they breathe slightly differently from us, from mammals, in that they don't have a diaphragm, so they can't go. But they have little brachial muscles here. You can see the little chin. It goes in and out and in and out all the time, pumping the air into the lungs. You've probably always thought that frogs are slimy. Well, if you did think that, you'd be right, because they are. Frogs have pores in their skin. They're able to breathe through their skin. And in order to do this, they're covered in this mucus, which is the slime, which is the shiny part. And that mucus helps to catch the oxygen so they can absorb it into their bloodstream and breathe. The slime also works as a shield to protect them from bacteria and fungus. They dehydrate really quickly, especially in the strong sun. So to cope with this, especially during the dry periods, they can secrete the mucus that's really thick. It's like a second skin, and it dries out all over the frog's body. And that keeps all that moisture in, so they can go for a few months in a kind of a hibernation where they don't eat. They just hide in a nice cool place, and they can survive without food or water for that period of time. And then when the rains come, all that slime just washes off that second skin, and they're back to normal life again. They don't hydrate in a normal fashion by drinking through their mouth. They absorb liquids through the little pores in their skin, and they have what's called a soaking stomach right here between their thighs, and they absorb water to that little patch of skin around there. I just want to introduce to my little friends here. This is the pixie toad, Darren. I'm right next to him here. This is Bernard, and Bernard is a smooth-sided toad, and he comes from South America. And sitting up there on a tree, that is Dermot the frog, and he's an Australian green tree frog. One of the most significant differences between frogs and toads is, you might notice that the two guys here, they're slimy. They've got mucus in their skin. Frogs, they have to be near water the whole time, whereas toads are more adventurous, and they're more inclined to travel a little bit. So if we look at Bernard, he's got little dimples on his back, like little warts, and he's quite dry, not as slimy as the frogs. One of the biggest differences between frogs and toads is that frogs' spawn is in a clump, whereas toad spawn is like in a string, in a strip. It's very neat, actually. There are other differences as well, but they don't really run through frogs and toads. For example, frogs generally have longer legs, but if you look at Darren, he's got little short legs, and whereas Dermot has really long legs. Frogs can jump further, up to 20 times their own body length, but if we take a look at this little guy, he's more of a walker. So this is Bernard. He's the smooth-sided toad, and this guy, these are mostly nocturnal creatures. They're toxic as well. They're toxic for other animals to eat. Some animals have an immunity to their venom, but they have a what's called a bufotoxin, which comes out through the holes here, and it's kind of a yellowy kind of pussy kind of substance, and they only use that on very rare occasions when they are very, very nervous or very scared. One of the reasons is because if they release that, if they were a bit easily agitated and they release the poison, it takes a lot of energy to build up the resources to make that poison again. And when you get a very nervous toad, like one of these when they're younger, and they produce a lot of venom, they'll usually end up being much smaller as an adult than they would normally be. Tree frogs, they're amazing. They can jump really far, and they've also got these incredible grips on their feet. And what it is a mucus substance that's fairly thick, and it's really adhesive, so they're able to stick to all kinds of objects, even a smooth object like the plastic on the back of this clipboard. It's no problem to them. And if the mucus gets dirty, they still don't lose their grip because it's self-cleaning. A group of birds is called a flock. A group of frogs is called an army. The biggest frog in the world is called the Goliath Frog. It comes from West Africa. It weighs about 7 pounds. That's as much as a newborn baby. Golden poison frog is considered the most toxic frog on earth. There's enough poison on it to kill 10 grown men. Funny thing about it is, it's toxic because of its diet. And when you take it away from its natural environment and start feeding it other types of food, it's no longer of any danger. The next one is called the desert rain frog. It's an African frog, and it is very angry in this clip I'm about to show you. It's making a lot of noise, and please, I hope you don't find this disturbing. And these guys, they don't live near water. They don't live the normal frog life. The way he was all puffed up, he was obviously trying to scare something away to mark his territory. They lay eggs, and when the eggs hatch out, the babies aren't tadpoles, they're little miniature frogs. This is Chris. He is a frilled lizard from Australia, and of course, you've met Bernard, the smooth-sided toad, already. There are certain differences between reptiles and amphibians, and one, of course, is the skin. These guys have scales, which allows them to survive in harsher environments, whereas these guys, they kind of have to be near water the whole time. Reptiles lay eggs, and their eggs are leathery. And when the young emerge from the eggs, they're fully developed and ready to go. Amphibians lay gel-like eggs. When the young emerge, they are tadpoles, they have gills, and it takes them a while to metamorphosize into young adults. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.
Dave's joke.